All right, gentlemen, what's going on? It's Tuesday night. Run the wild card. I'm Bones. I got Smitty. We got my man Rupa Hot and Kev Mike in the house. Happy Tuesday, gentlemen.
What's going on, boys?
What's going on? It's Tuesday night.
Happy Tuesday, indeed. Salutations.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Listen, pretty crazy weekend going into the wild card. The flip of the coin did not factor into the game this week, as we were just talking before we jumped on here. Russell, you had asked the question about the feelings of the coin flip. Bengals win. They play at home. Now we wait for the AFC Championship game to see how that's going to play out. So, what's your thoughts, Russ?
Well,
you all right with that?
My question is it taking everything, strip everything aside, for all the emotions except for football. And, I think it kind of works out to where, the Bengals and Bills, didn't physically play a football game, almost like 3/4 of a bye week. And now Kansas City ends up, with their bye week and, no coin toss. I think the big kick in the pants would have been if, the Bengals had to coin toss it with the Ravens. But
True.
I think in the end, it all worked out the best that it possibly could have. And now we roll.
Keep it rolling, Smitty. Let's roll right on. What do you got on the slate tonight?
Well, let's talk about Devin Hester, named to the Hall of Fame finalist. What do you guys think about that? Kev, what do you think about that?
I think he's first ballot Hall of Fame. I think he's the best returner of all time. I think that there's really not much more to add. I think he was electric. I think that he was just outstanding, and what a real weapon he was, especially when you think back at that Bears team that went to the Super Bowl, that lost to Peyton Manning's Colts. They wouldn't have got there without that year he had. He returned a bunch of touchdowns, put him in good field position. Just an electric player and one of my all-time favorites.
And he's from the U.
He's from the U.
He's from the U. That's your spot down there, kid. So Devin Hester holds a few NFL records. Most returns for a touchdown on special teams with 20 total touchdowns, 14 punts, 14 punt returns. That's a lot. 5 kickoffs, and then he returned 1 missed field goal as well. So Devin Hester is definitely one of the greats.
Along with him is Jared Allen, defensive end, Willie Anderson, offensive tackle, Ronde Barber, D-back, Dwight Freeney, defensive end. He's from Connecticut, isn't he?
Hall of Fame, Bloomfield, Connecticut, Hall of Fame.
Right.
Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson,
Hall of
Albert
Fame.
Lewis, Darrell Revis, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, and Darren Woodson.
Yo, there's a ton of dudes going in the Hall of Fame this year.
How hard is it to make the Hall of Fame this year? I mean, you just rattled off a ton of names, and I feel like they're
a heavy list.
That's solid. That's one of the most solid lists that I've heard. Maybe because we were able to watch most of them play, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And
so it's going to go from 15 to 10 and then to 5.
Oh, dude. Devin Hester probably is not going to get in.
I need those names again. I'd have to write them down.
Devin Hester is not going to get in, bro.
Dude, I 5 get in.
Joe Thomas. Right? Go ahead,
Joe
Smitty.
Thomas.
Run those
Joe
names
Thomas. Zach Thomas, linebacker.
Zach Thomas ain't getting in this time.
No.
DeMarcus Ware.
Ooh. I think he's like the way, not to interrupt, but the way that I view the Hall of Fame in any sport is if you name a name, if it automatically makes you think about it, it's no. Like when I say to you, Deion Sanders, what do you say?
Locked.
When I say Peyton Manning, what do you say?
Hall of Fame.
What if I say Eli Manning, Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
You're not getting the vote for me. He cost me 2 Super Bowls.
But keep going through that list. That list is insane.
It really.
We got Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis.
Oh my gosh.
Darren Woodson.
Woodson's not going to get in this group.
No, he belongs though.
Zach Thomas is not getting in this group. I think he belongs too.
But he also said Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson's listen, I'm not. Everybody knows I'm a Miami fan.
Yep.
Andre Johnson is Hall of Fame, and I think Devin Hester's Hall of Fame. But these names, like the more he went through the list, I don't know, dude. About
It's gonna be tough.
I don't
It's
see him.
definitely gonna
I
be
don't
tough.
see him getting in.
I
see
don't
him
think
getting in with
Hester's
these
getting
names.
in right now.
No,
He should be in though.
no, he's not. I don't see him getting in. I personally.
But like Kev said, is there anybody on that list that you say the name and that they're in?
Joe Thomas,
Joe Thomas.
automatic.
DeMarcus Ware made me have to ponder the question.
What about Darrell Revis?
He's Hall of Fame.
Automatic.
Automatic.
I mean, I say Reggie Wayne has records with Peyton Manning. I mean, how does he not get in first ballot?
He's Hall of Fame too. I don't think he's getting in this time.
Oh.
But either way, that's still two automatics that you talked about. So now you're down to the rest of those guys for 3 slots.
Right.
So 2 automatics: Joe Thomas, Darrell Revis. I got to throw Andre Johnson. I mean, Dwight Freeney was an absolute freak. I mean, maybe I'm biased because he's a Connecticut guy.
No,
but
he was a beast, Ray.
He was an absolute freak.
And they list him as 5'10" and a half. He's my height.
So
I'm telling you right now.
Quick story. Dwight Freeney, Bloomfield High School, 1998. We almost had to play them in the States. We probably would have been absolutely destroyed. But my buddy Travis Senekosoff, he was all-state, same class, Class M. Dwight Freeney, all-state defensive end. Travis Senekosoff, all-state defensive end. So his all-state pictures with Dwight Freeney. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, guy from Griswold, Connecticut. Holla back.
Griswold.
Yeah, that's somewhere over in the, where are we at, Russell? Can you, what part of the state are we? We're not
north
quite
of north of the casinos.
North of the casinos, yes, closer to Foxwoods, folks. Yes, that is right.
Right.
What
a list.
Hell of a list.
Yeah,
Torrey Holt,
definitely.
love Torrey Holt.
I don't think
Torrey
he's getting
Holt.
in.
I don't know. Maybe Hester has a shot. But best of luck to all the nominees.
Right.
They'll be announced February 9th on the NFL honors prior to the Super Bowl.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And people, feel free if you want to jump in, give us a shout. You want to comment on any of our topics. You can send us a DM, put it in your comments that you want to give us a call, and we will field your calls because we're having a good time here. It's the hook for a reason, folks.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So listen, why don't we move along and let's talk a little bit about last night's game with Georgia Bulldogs and TCU.
The Horn Dogs?
Horn Frogs.
Are we still calling that a game?
What an embarrassment.
It's SEC.
Now, here's my question.
SEC.
Here's my question to you guys.
Once again,
do you think that TCU belonged in that game? Do you think that they just gave up right off the rip? A big stage?
No.
What do you guys think?
I think Georgia is just that much better. And by the way, let's be honest here. Whether you want to argue that Alabama should have been in or not, Georgia's beaten Alabama. Georgia was the best team all year. They have so much talent and they have so much depth. And Kirby Smart, and right now Georgia, you can argue that Georgia's the program. I know that comment by David Pollock last night. First of all, Nick Saban looked like he wanted to reach over and grab him by the throat. But he said it right in front of him that this is the program right now, and they are. But you got to understand, Georgia, and not just their ability, but this is a young football team, and having Stetson Bennett, I know he's 39 years old, but having somebody like Stetson Bennett is your classic, college quarterback. I think somebody will give him a shot at the next level, but I think that he's not high in the draft. But when you look at Georgia, top to bottom, positions, talent, speed, effort, hard work.
Coaching.
They're just loaded. I think they would. I don't think that TCU gave up. I think Georgia came into this game with a chip on their shoulder. I think that Kirby Smart was right. People doubted him all year. They thought last year was a little bit of a fluke because Alabama's receivers got hurt, and to be fair, they were whooping on Georgia in the first quarter until Jamison Williams got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And he was having a monster game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this team was just so dominant and so talented. I just don't think it mattered. And I think that they just came in. And if you guys get a chance to download or hear the pregame speech by Kirby Smart, if you listen to that, any one of us would run through a wall for that guy. It was awesome. So I don't
wish
think
you would have told me
gave
that,
up.
Kev. I would have downloaded it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. A lot of vulgarity, so I didn't mention it to you.
Well, okay.
But to answer the question, Georgia was just top to bottom the best team in the country all year long, and they proved it last night. I don't think anybody gave up. I just think that TCU team, they're just not, from a roster standpoint, ready to face that program.
Didn't they come out today and already pick Georgia to repeat next year?
Oh yeah,
that'd be a three-peat, sir. That'd be a three-peat.
They
so
won
they
last
can't be.
year, too.
They got to be young. They can't be losing much.
Well, it doesn't matter because he recruits like these guys are just that. Like in Alabama, just signed 8 5-star recruits. 8.
Yeah.
And so that just shows how angry Nick Saban is. And so if I had to, and college football is my thing. If I had to give you like a top 5 right now going into next year, one of them, Georgia's number 1. Alabama's absolutely in the top 5. You're going to have Michigan because they're returning everybody. And you're going to have, some of those other teams. The SEC is going to get a bunch of teams in the playoff next year. And, right now, the other conferences have to step up because the SEC is going to get stronger with Texas and Oklahoma. The Big Ten is going to get stronger with USC and UCLA. Mm-hmm. And really, college football is a mess. Like we talk about the conferences, guys. Yep. And obviously the Big 12 is a kind of a joke. You know what I mean?
They're behind. They're behind in the times. It's a passing league, obviously. Yep. Mahomes and Leach in the Red Raiders. You know what I mean? The
Air Raid.
SEC, the Air Raiders. The SEC is like, and Kev, I've been talking for years. It's the JV for the NFL, right? It's the JV for the NFL. And going through, the SEC, and I'm a huge SEC guy, and you look at some of these bowl games, Tennessee lost their quarterback, right? Herndon Hooker out for the year. Tennessee beat a Clemson team. You know what I mean? They beat a Clemson team, the best team technically, right, in the ACC. You had Alabama blow out the Big 12 champion 45-20. I mean, that score got a little inflated towards the end there, but the top 3-4 teams in the SEC handled the rest of college football. And some players didn't play, and that's the biggest problem with college football now is that it's a joke. It's a joke with if you're going to pay these kids to play, because they're getting paid, obviously. They should play the whole season. You know what I mean? Play the bowl games. Play the bowl games. It's terrible for the fans.
It really is. You're going to see, the one hesitation I have though with all these, we're talking about like, the top 5 for next year. We're talking about college football. Bennett, he's gone. Bryce Young, gone. Everybody assumes that there's a next guy up, but we don't know how these guys are going to perform. Doesn't matter if they're a 5-star recruit. We don't know. So, and by the way, if Michigan took care of business against TCU, I think the game would have been more compelling because from a matchup standpoint, Georgia and Michigan are very similar. Now, I'm not saying Michigan is on that level either, but when you look at the offensive line, Michigan, I think, had the best offensive line in the country. I think that, the way that they play is more in tune to what Georgia does, but I think it would have been a blowout either way. I really do. I just think Georgia was that much better. I really do. So
Georgia was a powerhouse.
Power. They just were.
Shout out to Ryan Day in Ohio State for giving them a hell of a game, though, last week.
Well, if that receiver, if Harrison didn't get a concussion, and I don't know how they picked up the flag. By the way, that was brutal. The guy leaves with a concussion. He gets hit helmet to helmet, and then they picked up the flag. He was out of the game, and then Ohio State they did a good job moving the ball. They missed a field goal. Ohio State played a heck of a game. Got to give them a lot of credit. They'll be back in the mix next year. The bottom line here is this with the SEC, and this is where I'll leave it. Yes, everybody gets paid. Everybody talks about NIL. The SEC has been paying players forever.
Right.
You got to give some of these programs a couple of years to recruit. This isn't college basketball where you can go get a bunch of kids and then you could win 25 games. It takes time to develop kids. It takes time to change the culture in your program. Lincoln Riley won right away. Mario Cristobal lost. You got to give some of these guys time. I just think that we need Notre Dame and Miami and USC and schools like that to really get on. Nebraska. Like, we need these guys to get right, or else it's just going to be the same 3 or 4 teams, and we're going to be talking about the same stuff every year.
All right.
The biggest
Thanks,
winner,
Kev.
The biggest winner from Monday night, though, was not the Georgia Bulldogs. It was Las Vegas, as in the line setter, spreader, forgetter. Vegas, baby. With that being said, what am I talking about? Georgia, minus 13.5 was the line. At the end of the game, or before the game started, 31% of America, of the country, was going with TCU. 31%. Plus 13.5 TCU. We all know what happened. Blowout city. Let's slide it over to the OU. 62 for the OU. Vegas loved that. Why? Because 74% of the people betting bet on the under. Georgia had the over on their score alone, 65 points. 62 was the OU. Vegas was the biggest winner on Monday night.
Yep.
Cool.
No question.
Vegas.
I rode that line, by the way. I rode what everybody else wasn't riding. Thank you.
You're right about Vegas, though, especially in the NFL. And you've seen some real weird things happen this year in the league, Ray. I mean, a lot of weird stuff.
Hey, speaking of weird stuff, I got a video I want to show. This is pretty weird.
The penalty you guys were talking about, but that was Walker, and that's LaFleur right to his rookie. You got to be smart.
And for DeAndre Swift, his leg was pinned underneath the original tackle, and then Jaron Reed
Number
hit him
7
in the head. Never
unsportsmanlike
pushed
conduct.
the athletic trainers. This would certainly be that week.
Now, what the hell was that? Smitty, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Never. Classless. That was one of the medical assistants, I believe, for that team came out to the field to check on him, to check on the player, and Walker decides to intentionally push him. And then, I don't know if you have the rest of the clip, right?
No,
he storms out of the field, kind of like I've seen little kids act better than them.
Russ, what's your take on it?
Well,
And that's a second injection, by the way.
Oh,
yeah.
Incorrect. The second time doing it.
Shout out to Neil.
Not only did Walker push him, but then 95 also steps in there to body up the trainer. 95 wasn't exempt from that either.
And you know what? I did see that, and I wish I would have let the clip play a little bit longer, but I kind of did a little cutting up there. But
yeah, probably. I mean, not that it's good anyway, but probably the wrong week for something like that to pop up on a video.
Yep.
And Smitty is right though. He's walking back down the tunnel, pouting like
crying, throwing a fit like a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's terrible. So Jerry says Wyatt should have been ejected also on that same play.
He's right.
100%. There's
He's
no
right.
reason for that. It's classes. It's trash, and why we're on trash talk and classless acts. And maybe if somebody listening knows the name of that player from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but when you sack the quarterback and do CPR, it's probably a bad move this week after what had occurred in the Buffalo Cincinnati game.
Terrible. That's it. Terrible.
Terrible.
Yep.
Oh, we don't have a third classless act, but we can talk about the threes and those 3 things that occurred for number 3. Kev, you want to start with one of them?
You start.
So On the third day, he started breathing on his own, DeMar Hamlin, right? Yep. That was one of the 3 acts that happened. Smitty, Kev, Russ, anybody?
What happened? 3 years. It was 3 years ago that there was a kick return for the Buffalo Bills at home, Orchard Park.
3 years, 3 months. 3 years, 3 months for 2 touchdowns. And yep, it's crazy. But maybe not 3 acts. There's 3 similarities. Let's talk about your Giants guys doing snowman's a sidekick Nick Foles when he was sleeping on the turf.
I love
knew Nick Foles was not going on that play, though. Then that was Kayvon Thibodeau, right?
Yes.
They did that?
Number 5.
Number 5.
You know what? I mean, there are sensitive fans out there. I didn't, you know what? Do I think it was a classy act? Maybe he'll learn from that. You know, he's a rookie. He's got to learn from that, you know?
Smitty, here's what he did wrong. Okay. I'll give you the sack celebration. He's a young player. This is who he is. He's kind of built for New York. He's going to do some things that make you shake your head, make opposing teams hate him, but he fits New York. He's a stud. He's twitchy. Kid's awesome. I loved him in college. The problem is that after he did that, then he went to the sideline and he did the Steph Curry asleep thing. Then he went on Twitter and he put something stupid out with the knock you out stuff. He didn't just double down on what he did. He tripled down on it. And that I hope he learns from because.
And that's what I said. I mean, he's a young kid. You know what I mean? He needs to grow. He needs to develop and he needs to mature. Moving on. Yep. Let's go to what do we got next?
I mean, we're on the Giants. Let's talk about Davis Webb and how he how he performed.
Davis Webb.
The
Davis Webb.
Eagles. Ugh.
The Eagles, how they look? How did they look to you guys?
They won the game.
They're not a number 1 team.
They won the game. Yes, they won the game convincingly.
I thought the Giants were gonna come back and win the game when it got close. I just think the Giants are so well coached, and I know Ray and I have gone back and forth over the Giants on Facebook, and I just we could talk about the schedule, we could talk about their record against teams that are over 500. That's all fine. My point with the Giants all year has simply been that the Giants have had an easy schedule 9 years in a row. They've been the second worst football team, wins and losses wise, until this year. I think the Jets are the only team that were worse. They've gone through coaches, and they've gone through more coaches. And it's not who they're playing this year. It's how they were able to win games. It's how they were able to drive down the field 5 times this year and come from behind. It's about beating Jacksonville on the road, a playoff team in Jacksonville, I might add, and their defensive secondary, for as poor as it is, stopping Jacksonville 2 straight times, throws in the end zone. It's just about the growth and the improvement in their team, because this roster is very close to the same roster they had last year. And so for anybody not to be impressed with the Giants and what they've done this year, regardless of what you want to say about who they played or who they didn't play, they beat Trevor Lawrence, they beat Aaron Rodgers, they beat Lamar Jackson, and they beat Washington when Washington was really on the up. And they knocked them out. That started their spiral. They didn't make the playoffs because they beat Washington. So the bottom line with the Giants is you've got to be extremely impressed with the coach. You've got to be extremely impressed with the fact that Evan Neal went opposite Andrew Thomas. And nobody talks about this, Smitty. Nobody. The Giants went out and they got bookend tackles. They wanted to protect Daniel Jones's backside, and they wanted to protect the other side. They made sure that the pressure, if it came from up the middle, so he could react and see what was going on, and he would was able to escape and find somebody down in the middle of the field or short, or run the ball. And they knew who they were all year long. We know about their limitations.
The only thing we need now is some receivers.
Well, yeah, but that's what makes it even more impressive, because their roster is still a nightmare. And I just think Giant fans, they've got a lot to be impressed about. They got a lot to be happy about, especially in the future. This could be a 5-7 year run for the Giants. It really
Definitely.
can.
It's been a long time. It definitely has.
But Smitty, I even told you and Ray 2 weeks ago when we were texting that people better not sleep on your Giants because they're going to sleep on them, and next thing you know, it's going to be the Giants and Buccaneers in the NFC freaking championship game.
I don't think so.
The Giants are going to beat Minnesota this week.
They're going to have their hands full in Minnesota.
It's going to be a hard one. It's going to be tough.
I think it'll be a good game.
27-24. Flip the score. 27-24. Graham Gano kicks the field goal. Giants advance. Then it gets interesting because then you got to look at teams in front of them. There are going to be some talented teams that they would have to play. I don't think they match up with San Francisco at all. I don't think they match up with Philadelphia well at all. No. It is what it is, but this is year one. You've got to be happy about the product.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled as a Giants fan.
Yeah.
So real quick, before we close out the Giants, Davis Webb, I want to stay on that subject. Davis Webb, he connected with Kenny Galladay 4 years. He's got paid $72 million for 4 years to score his first touchdown as a Giant.
Oh, a team that's starving for wide receivers, by the way. That makes, guys, Ray, that makes no sense to me. Because if there was ever a time for a guy to go out, he must not love the game. Because, Ray, if you took the Galladay that played in Detroit with this team, they'd be so much more dangerous. I have no words for him. I don't get it. So,
you know what? Yeah. I will comment on that because one thing that I will say about Kenny Galladay and what he's missing in New York is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a much better quarterback than he's given credit for. He's a great quarterback, and Kenny Galladay benefited from Matt Stafford. He should thank Matt Stafford. He should send him multiple gifts throughout the year to say thank you for this money because without you, I wouldn't have any of it. That's my take on Kenny Galladay.
Made a lot of money.
Ton of money.
Yeah, how many people don't get paid for what they're doing? They're getting paid for what they did. So
listen, he was in the right place at the right time. That's how that worked for Kenny Galladay. And the Giants, well, they were not in the right place at the right time, and they got the so
yep.
Dropping the balls.
That's it, man. Drop it like it's hot.
Yep. All right, let's move over to the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. That last game. What'd you think about that, Ray?
So, honestly, I was very impressed with how the Patriots competed in the first half. Even through the beginning of the third quarter, that first drive with the interception on the goal line, that was tough. Nelson Aguilar, I believe he gave up on the ball. I mean, he stopped his route. If he would have just maybe been a little bit more competitive, high pointed the ball, it could have at least been an incomplete pass and not a drive killer stopper. That was horrible. We had a little momentum. But, once again, two touchdowns against the special teams of the New England Patriots that has always been solid. God always wins, right? God wins. It was insane. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I did like that the Patriots offense actually, we sent some guys in motion. Some of the plays were still predictable, but next year, we'll see what happens. I did read a quote from Robert Kraft basically stating that this is not going to happen again next year. They're doing all the new additions to the stadium, and they're not going to have a shitty program, a shitty football team on the field with all these great additions. They want the fans to come back. They want the fans to, remember what it was like. I mean, we're only a couple of years removed. Last year we made the playoffs. Mac Jones took so many steps backwards, but at the same time, Matt Patricia's calling the offensive plays. So
get an offensive coordinator.
Done.
So Chris is saying, take Josh McDaniels back.
I would love for Josh McDaniels to come back. I would absolutely love. And you know what? The reason he's saying that is because he's a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. He's a Raiders fan. So
brutal head coach.
It'll get better, bro. It'll get better.
Yeah.
Do you think O'Brien's coming in?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I don't want him. You know who I want? I want the guy that just got fired from Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury. That's who I want. Send him over.
right? That's the perfect thing for both coach. He's a young coach and team. And go get a wide receiver, please, in the first round. Go get Jordan Addison. Go get somebody that can separate. The Patriots, for all we talk about the receiver issues, the tight ends, whatever, they don't have any receivers that get separation. Go get Jordan Addison. If he falls, go get Johnston, the TCU receiver, who's 6'4". And if you just keyed on him last night, you watch his get up, you watch how he gets off the line. I mean, he was wide open for a long touchdown, and the quarterback completely missed him and threw a pick.
Yeah.
If you put him there with a good offensive coordinator, things get a lot better for the Patriots.
Right. You brought up the threes earlier. How about the irony in the opening kickoff being returned?
Yeah. No.
What was that? What was that emotional dump for the Bills?
Yep.
I don't think you can get any more electricity in the stadium after that. I mean, you touch anything and you're going to get zapped. I mean, it was remarkable. There was nothing more that could have started that game off. Nothing better could have started that game off. It was like, all right, here's the Hollywood script, and then boom, it followed suit. So,
yeah,
I hated seeing it, but at the same time, you know what? You have to smile. You have to smile, and sports are great, man. This is why sports are. That's why we watch. I mean, for these like things that just happen. It's crazy, but I was happy for, DeMar Hamlin with that kickoff return for sure.
Yeah.
So Ray, you got Mac Jones. That's your QB now, not Zappy anymore, right?
Mac Jones is our guy.
Yep.
Okay, and then Bill Belichick is coming back for his 24th season as the head coach for the New England Patriots.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you think he can win? Do you think he can win without Tom Brady?
Yeah, I mean, he did a hell of a job coaching this year. I mean, how
win a championship without Tom Brady?
Of course. Why? We don't need Tom Brady to win a championship. I mean, we do have 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady, which is
we haven't won one without him.
You're right. You're right, Russ. You're right. But we didn't win the first 2 Super Bowls because of Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Like, Bill Belichick put a game plan together against the Rams, and he called the plays for Tom Brady to make the play, and he did. Tom Brady executed what Bill wanted him to do. It's kind of like watching God, I hate to compare him to Brock Purdy, right? But Brock Purdy's stepping into San Francisco, and he's not going up to the line and audibling. He's listening to the direction of his coach, and his coach is putting him in the best possible position to win, which is exactly what Bill did for Tom. And I think people forget what Bill did for Tom at the beginning of his career. I mean, Bill even left Tom in the game when Bledsoe came back. I mean, Bledsoe went in when Tom went down, but he still went and he started Tom in the playoffs, right? He still started Tom in the Super Bowl. That wasn't Tom that did that. That was Bill. Like, the set of cojones you have on yourself to start a second year, first time starter in the NFL over Drew Bledsoe. Drew was not some guy.
No, Drew was a
godsend. He was Washington State's like, oh my God, it's Drew Bledsoe.
See, I guess if you get wrapped up in it, though, my thought is that, even before, we talked before that he didn't have a great record in Cleveland either. But, does he have to do something without Tom to get that monkey off his back?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so, because he's already proven. I mean, Bill is one thing that the Patriots have always had, and I repeat myself, is we've always had a stout defense. And the reason that we have that in special teams is because of Bill puts the right. He's in a game of chess, you got to put your pieces in the right place to win, and Bill's been very successful doing that. I mean, what more can you want from a guy? I mean, 25 years, 12 AFC, how many AFC championship games? 11, 6 Super Bowls. That's remarkable, with or without Tom. And not to mention, Kev mentioned earlier, 11-5 with Matt Castle and missing the playoffs. Jimmy G was undefeated till he got hurt. So Bill's won with other quarterbacks, but as far as staying healthy throughout the year, I mean, you can't call it. If Jimmy G
is it a kick in his Is it a kick in his stones that Tom went to Tampa and won? Or is it just
Probably.
that Tom went to a stacked team?
Russ,
I think
you
it
could have
probably
went to
pissed him
Tampa
off.
anyway.
You don't think it pissed? I think it pissed him off.
Of course it did. Why wouldn't
He's
it?
a competitor.
Dude, you know what I'm going to compare that to be completely honest? I'm going to compare that to Kevin Durant going to Golden State. That's what Tom Brady did. That's what he did.
It's fair. It's not as bad, but it's fair.
It's
fair.
not. I mean, 5 players, 11 players. I mean, unbelievable defense. Tampa Bay had everything, and they got Gronk to come back. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Leonard Fournette had a career year that year.
Antonio
Leonard Fournette
Brown
lived up to all of the hype that he was. Leonard Fournette was supposed to be an absolute specimen in the NFL. He was that year.
Yep.
He had a career year that year. He did what he was supposed to.
So did AB.
And I forgot about Antonio Brown. Sorry. What?
That was when he was.
You know what though? It drives me nuts because a lot of the points that were just mentioned, it shows that Bill can win. He was building something very special in Cleveland. He won the division the year before, and then they had that whole move situation. He had a unbelievable staff. Unbelievable. Kirk Ferentz, Nick Saban, Scott Pioli. They did a documentary about it.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to win big there too. And it just fell apart. They fired him. And, they were doing stuff like he wanted to draft Warren Sapp and they wouldn't let him do it. There was a lot of messed up stuff that was going on there at the end. But, 11-5 with Matt Castle, winning games with Jimmy G. If anybody, I guess if there's people out there that want to be critical and say you can't win with Tom, whatever. But I think that it's driving him to come back. I think that he's going to make some changes and they're going to be good. But, that it's not true. Like he has won without Tom.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that he can't win without Tom. I think when you listen to the arguments, it's that he hasn't. And
right.
that, and then Tom left and won. So is that,
Well, let me ask you this question, Russ. What has Tom Brady never done up until this year?
Been under 500.
Been under 500.
And he's going to win a Super Bowl, winning come on, he's coming. TB12.
Hey, so they're playing Dallas.
Liability.
We're gonna segue right into the wild card weekend after that comment, right?
Let's do it.
So they're playing the Dallas Cowboys, right? And this game is they're playing on Monday.
Is that true?
A Monday playoff.
Yes, that's the main event.
Why are they doing that? That's
the main event.
That is stupid. Anyway,
I don't like it either, but I'll watch it.
That's terrible. But it's football to watch, right? And that's a game to bet on. So we'll have to see what those numbers look like on Monday.
Yeah.
Cowboys are -3. They've never beaten Tom Brady. They're 0-7, right? Or Tom's 7-0 against the Cowboys. It's a playoff game. If the Cowboys go into Tampa Bay and they beat the Buccaneers and Tom Brady, I actually wouldn't mind that. And I'm not a Cowboys fan. But just to put everything to bed about Tom Brady this and Tom Brady that, I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. But I'm not going into all the hype of him doing it without Bill. Sorry, can't do that.
Why wouldn't you mind that though?
Why wouldn't I mind the Cowboys beating them?
Yeah.
You know what? The Cowboys have been so bad in the playoffs. They've been absolutely horrible.
Why break the streak?
I don't spoken like a true New York Giants fan, my friend.
You would have to listen to Michael Caterano forever.
You know what? I'll listen to Mike because I'll be honest with you. They'll win one game and then they're done. There's a bunch of guys. I'll listen to them talk for 1 week, right? There's a bunch of Cowboys fans. I'll give them 1 week. Fine, no problem. But then you're back on the shelf where you've belonged since the mid-90s. But
I hate that Dallas is going to win though.
I'm going to take the Cowboys in that game. They're -3 on the road. I don't know. I think it's the end of the Bucs are beat up. Dak sucks too, by the way.
That's right. But the problem is that when you look at, and I say this all the time, you got to look at how they match up. And I don't know that offensive line is going to be able to protect him. That's my issue. It's not about Tom Brady. Like, I know he's old, and I know everybody says go home, he's done. This isn't about Tom Brady being done. This is about the Dallas Cowboys having a better team. And I know they crapped the bed against Washington, And I know that they played horrible. I get it. I just when I look at this, if Dallas loses this game, I think then we can kind of, I could come on in a couple weeks and we could start talking about Sean Payton going to Dallas.
Yeah,
Mike
Mike McCarthy
win
is
this
gone.
game.
They lose,
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy is gone.
They've got to win because Jerry Jones knows that this team has a small window, especially with the cap situation. Excuse me. And this is a game they should win. They're better than Tampa Bay this year. They're better than Tampa. If they lose this game, whoa.
So let me ask you guys a question. If, and that's a big if, Dallas loses to Tampa Bay, what's the Achilles heel for Dallas? Who's the Achilles heel?
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
So you guys think that it's the head coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What about the quarterback that Jerry is paying so much money to win games?
Well, they're stuck with him. That's why. Like they can't. What are they going to do? You can't move him.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking.
You know what I'm saying? So I know Dak's throwing picks. I think that Dak's a good quarterback. I do. I think he's throwing a lot of picks. I agree with that. But again, I just think he has a better team. You got a banged up Bucs team. You've got the offensive line is what's killed them all year. And I just don't know who's blocking Micah Parsons. That's a problem.
He is a problem.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
He's a beast.
No, they have the ends covered. Dak over the last 2 weeks, right?
Terrible.
Against Washington, he was horrific.
Awful.
Against the Titans, he was 70%, but he wasn't horrible. He threw 2 picks. So in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games,
yep,
he has 10 interceptions. 11 interceptions. That's not going to win you a playoff football game. I know that much.
Well, Derek Carr got benched for that.
Yeah. No, Dak has had a few good games. He's had several good games.
Against who? The Giants?
Well, the Eagles, but their defense has been suspect, right? He had a good game against the Jaguars. That defense has been decent. Yeah. The Vikings, the Bears, the Lions. So
he killed Washington the first time.
Against all the
second time,
he was terrible last
awful,
week.
But I'm just saying he was good against Washington. He was good against the Giants. Not the Giants. He was good. He was good against who? No, because I think Cooper Rush. Who started that game? I think he was hurt against Washington. It's fair.
Is it time for Cooper Rush to step in? Can Cooper Rush step in and lead them to a victory in Tampa?
When you look at how many games he's missed, the interceptions are way worse. It's a good point.
Yep. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. The lack of games and the amount of interceptions is definitely valid. I just don't like their, the momentum that they have right now going in, even though it is Tampa. I just don't like how they're playing. And to me, that comes down to Dak.
It's fair. It's fair, guys, because when you look at how they're playing, they lucked out against Houston. I mean, the last month of the season playing against some poor teams, they've been awful. But I just think that if they weren't playing Tampa Bay, if they were playing someone else, I would have worried. I just think that Tampa Bay, I just think it's an awful matchup for Tampa Bay. But but to answer Smitty's question, if Dak goes out and throws 4 interceptions and they lose, it's a real then that's not on Mike McCarthy. That's on Dak. But if Dak plays well and they lose, the fall guy will be Mike McCarthy. Because honestly, guys, there's no reason Dallas should lose to this team. I know Tom Brady's the quarterback, but this is a different Tampa Bay team. And I think Todd Bowles
banged up too. They're hurt.
Yeah.
The offensive line is trash right now.
Terrible.
More of an exciting game. Chargers, right? Chargers. When have we seen the Chargers in the playoffs playing the Jaguars? I think that's going to be a heck of a football game.
It's a weird game.
Ray, did that line flip? I thought
so. Right now,
it is right. No, it is right. It is right. All right. The
Chargers
are favored. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5, 47.5. So they expect some points on the board. Why not? The way, you have two. Listen, you have two of the up and coming quarterbacks going at it too.
Yep.
Herbie and Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
I love the quarterback matchup.
Yeah.
I like the Chargers. I like the Chargers in that game. I think that their defense is too rugged. Their D-backs, their linebackers, they're stacked, man. They got a running game. They got the passing game. I just think the Chargers are built for this game right here.
It's gonna be a battle. I think
Yep.
it's gonna be a battle, and I think the line is very accurate at 1.5 because it really is. I
think Jacksonville's defense is definitely on point.
No, they are, but I think the Chargers are getting healthy. Chargers defense is healthier than it has been.
I think the Chargers are going to beat them by 2 scores, dude.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I'll let you know what
Vegas team.
I'll let you know where the money goes, and I'll tell you who's going to win.
Exactly.
That's how I'm going to figure this one out.
Yep. But I just off the top of your head, I agree with Smitty. I just think they're a better overall team. I think Jacksonville accomplished a lot, much like the Giants. I just think the Chargers are better. Shout out to Neil. I corrected myself on that the Cooper Rush Dak Washington game.
Yeah.
But he pointed that out.
There. Get Cooper in there if you want to win, Dallas fans. So that's the 8:15 Saturday night game. The Saturday afternoon game, Seattle is traveling to San Francisco. My prediction to run the NFC, the 49ers.
Me too.
What you guys have a take on what you think here? Right now it's looking at Niners are a 9.5 point favorite. Russ?
Been saying Niners.
Is Purdy for real?
I've been saying Niners.
That defense is for real, and he's got the players on offense. I know you have, Smitty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
San Fran, man.
Yeah, that's a big.
But you know what? Seattle, Geno Smith did a hell of a job this year. I was one of the guys that I didn't believe in that dude. I thought he was done.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same. That's the same spread as the Bills over Miami.
Yes, it's close. Yeah, half a point, right? Tua is probably not going to play, right? So that game is Sunday at 1. Bills are a 9-point favorite, but the Bills are another team that that they're banged up, man.
So listen, real quick question: Tua not playing. What do you guys think about that? I mean, God forbid that guy receives another concussion. His health. And that'll hurt the team though if he doesn't play.
Oh, they're not going to win the football game without Tua. It's not even going to be a close game.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win with them, but I don't think they're beating Buffalo. That
secondary's banged up though, Kev.
It is.
Poyer's got MCL issue.
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White, he's banged up. The other DeMar Hamlin's out. Who started over DeMar Hamlin? He's out. Like the Bills are down to their practice squad guys. They signed the kid from Atlanta. I forget his name. He's going to be starting.
Yeah.
No Von Miller.
Right. But
Josh Allen's not playing like he was last year. I think his arm's still messed up. I don't know.
But if you're gonna let me present it to you like this. Let's say that their defensive secondary is banged up and they give up some points. Do you really think Thompson is going to be able to get in a shootout with Josh Allen and beat him? I don't.
No, but if Tua played, I could see it being an issue with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I could see
Jalen Waddle because he throws the ball accurately.
He does.
He was a good quarterback when he's healthy, as long as they're not playing. I don't know. He has a hard time against the zone, disguising the defense and stuff. So I don't know, but I feel more comfortable with Tua in there instead. But hey, let's go to the game of the week for Smitty.
Sure.
Game of the weekend for Smitty. Giants traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota's 3-point favorite, 48.5 for the OU. So Vegas is expecting some points to be scored here. Smitty, how confident are you?
I just think that the Giants, their offense is pretty predictable. If Saquon gets going and the play action is working and Daniel Jones is on point, I'm not too worried about the defense. But if the offense could at least hang in there with the Vikings, and the defense stops the Vikings, I believe that we can compete. Not that confident because, it's been a long time. This is the first year that the Giants have a winning record, and we're in the playoffs. I'm happy about that. The future looks bright.
Kev, I know you have a lot to say about this, but I want to hear what Russ has to say first.
Yeah, no, I kind of like what Smitty said there. I think if the Giants can stall the Vikings at all, Vanilla Vic could have a day.
That
Shout
is
out
awesome.
to Scott Fryer. Shout out to Scott Fryer, Vanilla Vic.
Shout out to Fryer. I love it.
Yeah, 94.9 B3 Sundays 1 o'clock. 94.9
or
12 o'clock. 12 o'clock.
12
Right?
o'clock. 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock Sundays. Chris Michael, Scott Fryer. Kev, break it down the Giants. Come on, I know you got a lot to say because I know you've been like.
I just think that I think they match up well. I think that the Giants are going to kick a field goal and win the game. I think it'll be 27-24.
All right.
The opposite of the loss in Giants Stadium.
The previous game.
Sunday night
From
game.
your mouth to God's ears, bro.
I don't trust. You know what it is, guys? Before you move on, First of all, Kirk Cousins can never beat the Giants in a meaningful game ever. Oh. I watched it for years in Washington.
Why? Wait a minute. Where'd you watch him play? Where'd you watch?
I watched Washington. Kirk Cousins, baby.
Wait, they changed team names?
Yeah, don't do that. Oh.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on a minute.
No.
Just happened one day at practice at summer camp. I said, okay, you hogs, let's get down to the bullpen down there. And the guys kind of chuckled about it.
Major Tutty.
Yeah, hey, Cousins didn't play for the Commanders.
Yeah, who's your Tutty?
Major Tutty.
I told you I had a video for you.
The new owner can't get here soon enough, and the Hogs are suing they're suing Dan Snyder.
Oh, what a joke!
It's terrible.
What a joke!
I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I believe in Brian Daboll. That's what I believe in.
Fair enough. I believe in Justin Jefferson.
He's a stud.
Jet is baby. LSU receivers are dominating the NFL, huh? Kind of like Bama wide receivers. Sunday night game. Baltimore, Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, Bengals -7. Is Lamar going to play? That's the question.
Yes, I think he's going to play.
So he's listed as
he can play.
He's not listed as questionable. He's questionable. So, I mean, as a Ravens fan, you can only hope and pray that you'll see Lamar. Huntley is not going to fill those shoes. But the Ravens been playing some decent football.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Chase. Just like you said, Jefferson, I got Chase. I like that trade.
Well, I mean, Joe Burrow's big time.
Yeah, they better hope they have Lamar because the Bengals are going to score.
Yeah, no. Tyler Way just said, "Will the Bengals sit players?" Not for this game, buddy. I don't think it's going to happen for this game.
No, but Lamar Jackson, that whole situation is fascinating because, first of all, they have no shot if he doesn't play, as you said. But they gave Roquan Smith a ton of money today. 5 years, $100 million.
Yep.
So, and linebackers usually don't. I know he's a tackling machine, but linebackers usually don't get $100 million unless they're a pass. Like Micah Parsons will get a ton of money. I don't know what that means for Lamar. I don't know if that means they'll move him and get picks and start over at the quarterback position. It's really incredible. But if he doesn't play, they have no shot. If he plays, I still think they're going to lose. But guys, we're sitting here. There's always going to be something that screws us up. Like there's always going to be there's going to be a game and there's going to be an upset this weekend. And I have no idea which game it'll be, but there's every year in the wild card, there's something crazy that happens. Who knows? Maybe this is it.
Hey, who's your upset this week? Everybody, give me one.
God,
Yeah,
the Giants beating Minnesota.
Smitty?
You got to go with my heart, kid.
All right. Russ?
The Bucks taking down the star. It's a
the
rating,
Bucks.
not a symbol.
Yes, you're right. You are right about that, sir.
That's ballsy. I like that.
You are right about that. I'm going to go with the Jaguars at home. I like the home team. I'd like to see Trevor Lawrence. I'm a big fan of Trevor Lawrence. I want to see him.
You got the Jags over the Chargers?
I'm gonna go with the Jags for a couple of reasons. The first one I said I'm a big fan of Trevor Lawrence. Number two, I have a signed auto Trevor Lawrence card. If he can move towards the Super Bowl, the value of the cards are going to go up. So,
makes sense.
There's my thought process there. So that's the run through for the wild card weekend. There were some other things that happened in football. Maybe we can touch on real quick. Start with Lovie Smith.
Yeah. So Lovie Smith. Question to you guys. Now, they won the game. The Texans won the game. If they would have lost, they would have gotten the first pick in the draft. Yep. Correct?
Yep.
But Lovie Smith gets fired. Do you guys think that if they would have lost that game, Lovie Smith stays?
No.
Well, Smitty, it's funny that you say that because were they supposed to lose it and he didn't, and they're mad at him and he's gone.
Those are the questions that I have too.
Well, just
one thing that I did read was that Lovie Smith had a meeting with ownership, and he treated that game as if it was a audition for the following season. That was my understanding from something that I had read. Stupid move to even have the meeting with him if you're going to fire him for winning a football game and having him think that he had a chance to coach the team the following year. Now, Houston's firing coaches. This is their third coach in the last four years, right? Last year it was somebody, Cully, I forget the guy's name. Now it's Lovie Smith. Before that, it was Bill O'Brien, 0-4 for the first couple of games. So Houston's a dumpster fire. They are the present-day New York Jets, in my opinion. Worse.
Yeah, but I think they would have fired him either way. I
agree with you.
I think that whether they get the first or second pick in the draft, I think they're going to take a quarterback. And I think that you want a new coach to come in. It's probably going to be an offensive mind, and they're going to want him to pick his quarterback. That's what I believe. I know there's going to be some theories on this. I know there's going to be some people that say, well, he was kind of a sacrificial lamb, and maybe he was. But I think the bottom line is no matter what, he would have been fired. And they're going to pick a quarterback. And maybe it's a blessing because if Bryce Young goes first, there's a lot of questions, in my opinion, about his size. And, if they have to take C.J. Stroud, that might be a blessing. I think C.J. Stroud's going to be a terrific pro quarterback. Yeah. And, I think what he showed in that playoff game was, he can run when he wants to, and he can escape, and he can be accurate on the move. I think that might be a blessing in disguise. But I just think at the end of the day, whether you agree with me or not, I think they're going to get an offensive coach, and I think he was gone no matter what.
Yep.
So Kev, let me ask you this question. So you're thinking that they draft somebody that can come in and play right away?
Say that again. Sorry about that.
They would have to draft somebody that can come in and play right away.
Well, they're going to draft a quarterback, whether he plays right away. I think it depends on who the staff member is, who the coach is. I think they're drafting a quarterback to play right away. Yes. I think C.J. Stroud will start week 1 next year.
Ugh, I'm not a fan of Ohio State quarterbacks at all.
Yeah, but everybody says that. Everybody said that about LSU until Joe Burrow. Everybody said that at Oregon until Herbert. Everybody says that until the program gets one of those dudes. Everybody says that about USC quarterbacks, and Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick next in 2024, and he is just different. So I don't put a lot of stock into that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Liskey just jumped in that there was talk about the Bears moving on from Fields.
That's an interesting one right there, man.
I think that would be a terrible move by Chicago. I like the way Justin Fields played this year. I mean, their team's not very good, but he had a good year.
Dude, he improved a lot.
He's developing, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't see why they would get rid of Justin Fields, but anything can happen.
Yeah, he's not on that Jalen Hurts pace, but he did improve quite a bit from year 1 to year 2.
If they were smart, and the Bears are not a good organization, if they're smart, they'll shop the first pick, they'll get a king's ransom, and they'll continue to rebuild. They'll move back a few slots, and they'll take either Jalen Carter from Georgia or they'll take Anderson from Alabama and get that pass rusher or get that defensive presence. Why would you do that? Like, Fields played really, really well compared to his rookie year. He's taken a step. Mm-hmm. He showed he showed the ability to throw the ball on the run. I don't know what their plan is, but I would shop that first pick. You're going to start over again with a quarterback.
No.
And these quarterbacks do have question marks. I think at least you got some of those questions answered in Justin Fields this year. Dude, I don't know why they would do that.
I would try to trade and get a couple more picks, to be honest, if I were the Bears. They need more than one player to help them out. They need more than one player.
And the team that probably should be on the phone with them is the Colts.
Yeah.
At 5.
So you got Neil saying the quarterback from Kentucky is the most NFL ready, the Connecticut dude.
Yes. Will Levis.
Will Levi.
Madison. Here's my just for Neil. My issue watching film on Will Levis, and I love the kid. I worked in the Madison school system. I know the family. They're great. The kid is phenomenal. He's awesome. His ball placement, and it's going to be something you hear a lot when you watch shows with the draft. His ball placement on film is not always there accurately. That is a major issue. He's big. He can throw on the run. I don't like how he played in big games this year. I don't want to kill the kid because he's a great kid. I think he's got a world of potential. He played awful against a bad Vanderbilt team this year. He didn't play in the bowl game. I love you, Will. The family's great. He's got a bright future. I don't think he's not as pro ready as Young or Stroud. He's just not. Ball placement issues, that scares me.
Didn't they talk about a quarterback like that plays for the Buffalo Bills?
Yes, but that's different.
It's different.
That guy played at Wyoming. And I told everybody that would listen, I said, do not look at his 48% completion percentage. He plays at Wyoming. They can't catch those balls. And Herbert also had ball placement issues, and he was able to fix those at the next level. The problem is not many people can do that. It's a very difficult thing. So just to answer the question, I love Will Levis. I think he's got a bright future. He's not the most pro-ready quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Before we go, a couple more topics, right? We'll make them short and sweet.
Yep.
Who's the NFL MVP this year? Smitty.
NFL MVP.
Why does this always screw us up, by the way? It screws me up too, Smitty.
Yeah, because you know what? I mean, automatically you think about a quarterback.
Yes.
Yep.
And I don't want to go that route.
It's going to be a quarterback, though.
It's always a quarterback.
It's a quarterback. So who's the best quarterback in the NFL this year?
Yeah.
I think it's between two people, Hurts or Mahomes.
I was going to say Mahomes, Ray.
I'm going to agree.
I'll go with Mahomes.
Mahomes. Russ, you're going to
I don't know. I'd have to vote present on that one, Ray, because I don't know.
Well, Mahomes, obviously they played an extra game. There's a couple records broken, right? Jamal Williams broke Barry Sanders' rushing record in Detroit. More importantly, was that an NFL record actually, or was that just a Detroit record?
I think it was a Detroit record.
Detroit
Sanders.
record.
Yeah, Detroit record. But Patrick Mahomes did break Drew Brees' passing yards record this year. One extra game. I'm not really a fan of these new records being broken with extra football games, but hey, it is what it is.
But he didn't even crush it, did he? It wasn't.
No, it was like 50 yards, maybe, if that.
With an extra game.
Yeah, it wasn't impressive. It wasn't an impressive, dominating feat. But you know what is impressive?
I think the one thing, the one argument with Mahomes is I think, when they took Hill away from him, people thought that was going to be a big dagger, and he kind of waited his
I was
way
one of
through
those
that.
people.
Huh?
I was one of those people, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, Valdez, Scantling, McCole Hardman. Not add McCole Hardman, but you added Scantling, you added Juju.
Oh Jesus, here we go.
But hey, that was good. That was great for Mahomes to lose one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the NFL. Honestly.
Oh my God, I'm not talking about you. North Carolina hasn't won an away game at Virginia since 2012. They just gave up two offensive rebounds.
Big North Carolina fan, North Carolina basketball fan right there, Kev Mike.
Yep.
Not excited about them. So but let's just touch baseball real quick.
Sure.
The saga for Carlos Correa. What is going on? What's going on with this? 6 years, 200 million?
He lost 113 million over the same ankle he's had for 6 years.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I think the Mets owner is a genius when it comes to business.
He really is.
Yeah, I don't think that guy is going to pay Carlos to play a couple of games, get hurt, and then sit down laughing while he's making his money.
Oh no.
Well, you do know that Lindor and Correa are best friends.
Absolutely.
I don't think Lindor would have let that rock. I think he would have been like, "Yo, come on, bro. I brought you over here. Don't let me down. We got a championship to win." Because the Mets, I mean, they're still built to win. But adding Correa to that side of the infield and then adding him to the lineup, the Mets were, and they're still a legit
contender,
National League East contender without a doubt. So.
But he's been playing. So what did two teams see in his physical that said, no?
Apparently he's got an ankle injury that keeps coming back. And, if, a couple of professionals are saying that this is a legitimate injury that will probably happen again, why would you sign that man for so much money?
No, can't do it.
So much time. So
now
he's back in Minnesota.
Bad investment. And have a great time in Minnesota, bro. You're probably never going to win over there. You should have stayed.
Hey, listen, let's go to the Red Sox real quick.
Speaking of losers.
So Trevor Story had an internal brace surgery on his right elbow and is expected to miss some time. What do you think, Ray?
He might not even play at all in 2023.
So who's your shortstop? Who's your second baseman? Your shortstop?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure what we're going to do. Can Enrique Hernandez play second base and shortstop? I mean, the guy plays everywhere. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know who's available right now. The Red Sox are in trouble. We were going to be in trouble. Anyway. Carlos Correa. Yeah, no, he's signed now. Now he's with
well, it was pending a physical.
Now he's sticking around in Minnesota.
You're right. He agreed. That's right. How you making out, Kev?
Armando Bacot just walked off the court, Ray. Injured ankle. We're screwed.
Yep, that's a season right there. And they're not doing very good anyway.
Well, they're 11-5 and they've played better and they changed to a 3-guard lineup, but
they're still not deep. Davis, they don't have any depth. They're not UConn.
No, they don't. Listen, they've got some guys on their bench. They don't play them a lot. Hubert Davis is kind of more like Coach K than Roy Williams, where he'll just play 7 guys, and But again, I can't complain too much. This program, I think, is in good hands. But as for the baseball stuff, we know the Red Sox are just. I don't even know what their direction is. Like, are they going to rebuild? Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean?
So Kev, that's been my take. Because listen, I'm a Yankee fan,
right?
But normally, where a team is headed, and I just don't get anything the Red Sox are doing.
And you know what? In my opinion, the only thing that I could see the Red Sox doing is rebuilding, of course, and at the same time, if Ohtani is available next year, maybe they'll go after him.
Are they better?
I would watch the Mets there. It seems like the Mets are like the new Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
But I hear you. I get what you're saying. I do. I just, if you're going to rebuild, then rebuild. Like, don't bring in Turner, and don't it's just weird what they're doing. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? I just don't understand the plan. You know?
I don't get the plan either. Hey, Josh Harrison's available. Maybe we'll go out and scoop up Josh Harrison. He hasn't signed anywhere yet.
Yeah, it's just some. Yeah, I got you.
I mean, just a player. We're not
162 games of Ray being miserable.
Well,
you know what? I'm gonna actually have a great time doing what I do, and that's agitating whoever I want to agitate, Russ. Mainly Yankee fans. Even though I'm not gonna have a lot to talk about with the Red Sox, I am gonna root for every team that play the Yankees, and that's just how it's gonna go.
You always do.
You are committed.
Nothing is going to change. My style, my swag, it's there. That's it.
I don't know about swag, but okay.
Swag.
Are the Yankees that much better? Like, I know they got Rodon.
No, they're not. But
are
Elvis Andrews, Jose Iglesias, couple names that are being thrown out.
No, they're not. The Yankees are not that much better.
Best thing that can happen for the Yankees is those young kids coming in and playing.
I agree.
I want to see the young kids.
I do too. Play them.
But we'll see how that goes. You know,
are they going to move somebody and get like? I don't understand the Yankees plan either. Like, we all get that the Astros are better than them, and they've lost to the Astros, and they have good seasons. They go to the playoffs, they lose to the Astros. I don't think they did enough to beat the Astros. Look, I love Rodon. I think that was a really smart addition. I might be in the minority here because I think starting pitching is a big deal, and I think it is important in the postseason. But their lineup is still way right-handed. It's still the same approach until Brian Cashman says otherwise. They spent a whole bunch of money to bring back the guys that lost to Houston.
Can we talk about the powerhouse players left for the Red Sox to play the middle infield? How about this guy, Mr. Wendell? Joey Wendell. What's wrong with Joey Wendell? He could fill a void over there. Christian Arroyo, already on the team, right?
Yeah.
Christian Arroyo, Kike are both players being thrown out there. Joey went, to play the middle. Utility players. We like utility players. But Joey Wendell, Jose Iglesias,
Jesus.
Josh Harrison, Elvis Andrews. So it's looking like we're going to be stuck with a 33, 35 veterans. We're looking at veterans at this point, unless there's going to be somebody coming up from our farm system, which is not the Baltimore Orioles farm system. So,
no.
Hey, it is what it is. Gentlemen, anything you'd like to add more before we wrap it up?
No, I just want to say, Smitty, great to talk to you.
Likewise,
all
bro.
you guys, great to talk to you. It's always a fun time. Always a fun time. Thank you, guys.
Great job.
Hey, you got to watch out. Joe says Cleveland Guardians are coming.
Hey, they were there last year. I'd love to see Cleveland. Back to the 90s. Back to the 90s, Joe.
Can you play the Guardians? Can you play the Tubby touchdown thing again for him?
Oh, God.
It just happened one day at practice at summer camp. I said, okay, you hogs, let's get down to the bullpen down there. And the guys kind of chuckled about it.
That's what's up.
I don't have any words for that.
I love it. Yeah, it's all love, bro.
Sort out your name first, and then your lineups.
Do we even know? Hey, before we go, do we even know if when they get a new owner? Am I going to have to go through another unveiling of a name?
I hope so.
Yeah, but as long as they don't change the colors of the team, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I just hate it all. I hate political
I hear
correctness,
you.
but I hate it all. I really
I think
do.
we're all with you on that.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure. All right, guys. Great show. Kev, Russ,
Yeah, man.
Smitty.
All right, fellas. Great
All
job.
right now.
All right,
Have
we'll
a
see
good
you.
night, everybody.
All right.
Later.